as you can see on my screen, I want to show you guys here my realized profit and loss from me selling options. And so on the screen here, I have my max time frame, which was the beginning of 2024. So I've been selling options for over a year now, in which you can see I'm only up $387.86 all time, or max time frame. And the reason why is because I was selling options on AMC, and as well I was selling options on Carvana, in which AMC, as we all know, did a stock split, and a reverse stock split, and that really put me in a bad situation when that happened. And as far as Carvana, I had been assigned about 400 shares, and I turned around, being new to this and seeing that I could get over $4,000 in premium. I sold a call on those 400 shares, and I sold the call out for about 2 years time frame, which I would not ever do anything like that again. But as we all know, Carvana is up over $300 per share right now, and the calls that I had sold were at a $45 strike price. So that's just telling you what price I had gotten in on Carvana at, and if I only would have been patient and held on to those 400 shares, I would have made well over $120,000, in which of course that didn't happen, and I'm not going to worry too much about that either. And so I'm saying all that because if you see here, this is one of my losses, which was $540. But here was my biggest loss of $11,000, almost $11,500. And then here another huge loss of almost $7,600, in which I don't have that type of money anymore now, because life has its ups and downs, things happen, and so I'm far from having the type of account that I once had, and it's maybe for good reason. And so I'm basically starting over and rebuilding my account so that I could get back to the point of having that type of money, so that I could be smarter with it as well. But that's why I'm down or only up $387. But I said that's a good thing, because look at the losses that I took early on when selling options. I mean, that right there alone is 11,475. So that's almost, if I include this, that's over $19,000 in losses that I took. But let's speed up the process and move ahead. And if we look here, year to date, starting this year, I'm up $2,500. And which, if you look here, early in the year, I didn't really sell many options. As you can see here, it's only a few. And so I'm going to go to the 3-month time frame, because that's where I really started picking up the pace again as far as selling options, in which right now I'm up $2,371. And I'm saying that mouthful because I've learned, and I'm trying to go about selling options a little differently, even though I am in a very risky stock when I'm selling my options. But I also have a small bit of faith that Wolfspeed will not go into bankruptcy, and that Wolfspeed will be able to turn around the negatives and turn them into positives. And so let's go back out here. And so if you're keeping up with me in my videos, you know that I sold 61 contracts for $1.50 call strike price, and it expires next Friday. And so a call is when you own the shares. So I have, because each contract is worth 100 shares, so I have 6,100 shares of Wolfspeed. And when I sold those 61 contracts, I received $854 in premium. And so right now, this contract is worth $610. So if I wanted to close these contracts out early, I'll receive $610, but I would have to sell about 200 or so shares in order to close this out early. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let these contracts go to expiration, which is this up and coming Friday, so that I could receive the entire amount of premium, and then I'll turn around and sell more calls. But the only negative right now is that the price of Wolfspeed is at about 90 cents. And so the average cost that I have for my shares is $1.24. And so I would have to sell the $1.50 call strike price in order to ensure that I get all of my money back and some, in opposed to selling the dollar strike price, because I would in turn lose money if I was to do so. And with the share price being at 90 cents, I'm not going to get as much premium as I once was receiving and as much as I would like to receive, but I am still able to get some premium, which is a good thing, because you have some stocks, once they start to drop like this and they get to a certain amount or a certain price, you aren't able to get any premium. And so I'm just hoping that Wolfspeed stays at least at this 90 cents share price amount, but I hope that it actually goes back up to at least $1.40, to where it's closer to that $1.50 strike price, and I'll be able to receive more premium. But let's just say if it stays at that 90 cents share price, and once my contracts expire worthless, then I'm gonna go turn around and sell more options, in which right now I would get roughly about $300 if I went a week out, in which there's a high probability that by the time next week ends and this week here begins, the bid price may actually be even less, to where I may not be able to get the $300. So I may actually have to go out to July 11th in order to get at least $300 in premium for selling the 61 contracts. But like I say, at least I'm still able to get some premium, and I still have faith and hope that Wolfspeed will turn around and start the gain more momentum and go back up in share price. But for the people that are thinking about possibly selling options, and they would like to use Wolfspeed, in which this is not financial advice, because Wolfspeed is going through some financial problems right now, to where it may end up in bankruptcy. We don't know, but let's just say you want to use Wolfspeed and you think, like I think, that there's a possibility that Wolfspeed could change some things and actually go back up in share price, and you're just now starting. Personally, if I was just now starting, I would use or sell the dollar put, that strike price at $1. I know it's in the money. You will get that more premium by doing so, and as well, you may possibly be able to close those contracts early and get a portion of that premium, because you're not going to get the full amount by closing it early, as long as the share price stays about that 90 cents or more. Now, if the share price drops even further, there's a possibility that by closing early, you may not get any premium. And if you don't mind holding shares of Wolfspeed, then I say sell in the money. And so right now, you would be able to get 22 cents per share. And let's just say, for example, you had $5,000. So with $5,000, you could sell literally 50 contracts. And so off of 50 contracts, you would be able to receive $1,097 in premium. And let's just say you end up being assigned those 5,000 shares. Then you could turn around and sell your calls. And so you could sell those 50 contracts, in which, if you look here, the limit price, the bid price is at 10 cents. The ask price is at 15 cents. So you probably would be able to actually get about 11 cents in premium, in opposed to the 10 cents, and so, or per share, I should say. And so if you get the 11 cents, now you're making $547.80 off of those 50 contracts. And you could just continue to do that and continue to bring in that premium, as long as the share price doesn't do anything crazy as far as going down. And you may not be able to get as much premium, but as long as the share price continues to stay where it's at and or actually goes up, even though you may have to sell at a higher strike price in order to get any type of premium when selling puts. But you can get some really good premium by selling options on Wolfspeed right now. And once again, this is not financial advice, because these are risky plays, so to speak, because we're not sure of the future of Wolfspeed, because they could go into bankruptcy. Me being that I hold 6,100 shares, I could lose any and everything that I have invested in this stock, and I pray that doesn't happen, because like I said, I'm literally starting over from scratch because of a lot of mistakes that I made in the past. And some people look at this and say this is possibly another mistake, but it also could be a big win, because I hold 6,100 shares. And if I'm able to continue to sell my options, make money on that end, and be able to continue to ride the share price up, if that was to happen, I mean, at $5 per share, I'm at over $30,000 in money that I've made by having 6,100 shares. If it hits $10, I'm at over 60 grand. And I know this is a if moment, so it's just possibilities. But at one point last year, Wolfspeed was over $20. So I would be well over six figures if it was able to reach that point again. But me personally, I'm just aiming for the $5 share price right now, in which if I was to hit $5, I would more than likely completely sell all my shares and move on to other ventures or whatever have you. But right now, I'm using Wolfspeed, and this is what I'm doing. And so once my contracts that I have right now expire this up and coming Friday, then you will see where I'm going to be up an additional $854 or whatever have you in my realized profit and loss screen. So at the 1 week point, you'll see that I will actually, I don't know how it's going to calculate. I don't know if it's going to be at the 3 months to where that would have me over $3,000 in premium in 3 months, where I made over $1,000 a month. But I just don't know how it's going to calculate it, because if you really look at it, like say in a month, that would have been, that started in April. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going 4 weeks at a time. And so it'll more than likely start a new month at this point. But I would be up $854 for the month. But year to date, I would be up over $3,000. And keep in mind that I really truly started getting these premium 3 months ago, and not at the beginning of the year, because I only made a couple of $100 at the beginning of the year. But within 3 months, I made over $2,300, and that $854 is going to be added into that, and so that'll be over $3 grand. But this is just what I'm doing, guys. You don't have to do anything that I'm saying to do, because I'm not recommending it. It's just ideas. And as well, I'm going to let you guys know how everything turns out at the end of the week, whether or not my contracts expired worthless. And as well, I'll show you what I'm going to do with my 6,100 shares if by chance Wolfspeed doesn't go up over $1.50, because anything is possible. But if it doesn't, I'll still keep my 6,100 shares, and I'll go and sell more call options with those 6,100 shares. But I hope y'all have a great next week. Don't hesitate to like and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to share my videos if you would like. Feel free to comment if you would like as well. I welcome all comments. But again, it's your man Investing with Cam, and let's make a lot of money together, and I'll talk to you soon.